Hey guys, my name's Nadia, or Natis, or whatever you want to call me. Today I'm going to be adding to this resource that I've got here, that I made a long time ago, about how to tune in the UTAU engine. So I got a comment, obviously, all the way down here about this being pretty vague and how I just don't explain a whole lot because like it's kind of difficult to kind of pinpoint what I wanted to talk about in writing. So I'm just gonna make a video to fill the gap, and it's gonna not be that great, but it'll fill the gap. So, I'm just going to be referencing this page a lot, and I would seriously actually recommend that you take a look at this because I'm pretty much going to go over all the same things that I've gone over in here, but just like in a little bit more detail. So, first of all, is one of the first things that I went over is how should the tuning look, and I got a comment, the same person, about like, oh well, what about these images here? Like, there's really no discussion on them other than the fact that they look different, and there's really nothing more to discuss other than the fact that they just look different. So one of the things is your tuning excuse me, does not have to look overly complex and just like crazy and all over the place in order for it to sound good, because it doesn't take that much from a pitch bend at all to alter the sound of the particular sample that you're trying to tune. So this is Elun's UST of How Far I'll Go, and see how like just totally not crazy and just so unintimidating that looks. It just goes to show, like what I said, it just doesn't take that much for you to alter the voice while you're tuning, and it still sounds really good. This is a really poor choice of voice mix, so I'm just going to switch from Ruko to Velveteen's been giving me issues, so we'll do Alice because she sounds really nice. And then I'm just going to go over the specific types of pitch bends as well as soon as UTAU decides that it wants to respond. Okay, so we're just going to take a quick listen to this like totally not scary looking tuning. Also, I apologize for my noisy computer. It's very tired. Please give him a break.
打ち寄せる波をずっと一人見つめてた何も知らずに
See how like nice that sounds? I should probably use a different resampler, but I mean whatever. So that's, yeah, it's just like a really nice like sounding song. There's a lot of different ways to achieve the same or similar sound. So there's this one. See, they're they're different samples obviously, but like these are really similar sounding pitch bends. And then we've got this guy here. So since it's coming from such a lower, it's coming from so far down here, and the fact that he's moved this control point from, I'm guessing, like right here to over here. Oh, come on. To over here, it produces a much different sound. So we're going to do this one more time. And then we're going to move it over here. Oopsie, sorry. See, so the closer that you move this control point underneath this one, I mean, eventually it's going to disappear. Like this. But the closer that you move it under here, it's going to give like a really like unnatural, like auto-tuney type sound, which is, when you hear covers of like, oh my gosh, that UTAU just sounds so auto-tuney. Yeah, it's not like a special effect that they use in a mixer. It's literally just like, what are they called? What is it? It's literally just their tuning, their pitch bends, or no pitch bends. So if I were to get rid of the portamento on here,
打ち寄せる波をずっと
See, it kind of sounds like auto-tuning. I mean, this isn't the right song for me to like display like auto-tune, but like you can kind of hear it. So this is why if you don't want it to sound like that, you absolutely need to have portamento. And the placement of these control points from each other is very important in order for you to like not get like sort of unnatural sounding noises. So that's the look of it. See, is like not scary tuning, is still very nice tuning. And let's see. I'll go back to my own screenshot of my own tuning. And like I said, I'm really not using any of these just to like discuss about them, because they're really I'm just using it for how they look. So this is my own tuning. There's a whole bunch of like errors in this. I can play the sample, but I don't want to open the UST because UTAU sucks. I'll just play the sample. Yeah, this is take 3 of this video, by the way. So you can hear that? So I'm gonna replay this again. Right there, where her voice dips down really fast, like kudamo. That sound right there, and I don't think I have it in this screenshot, but that comes excuse me, that comes from the pitch bends being so far down and so sharp at the same time. So making them sharp gives the voice less time to like make the adjustment, if that makes sense. I'm really not good with words, but it gives it's less time between for it to go up and then back down and then back up again. So it creates that kind of noise, but like sharper, obviously. Like it is a sharpness in the voice as well. It's not just a sharpness in the pitch bend, it's also in the voice that you can hear it. There's a lot of errors with this particular, or maybe not this particular screenshot, but with this particular cover here, there is a bunch of errors that I've since fixed. So it's updated, and I literally only have just like this half done. I don't have the rest of it done. I'm not sure if I have an updated, if I've saved this or not, but this is just an example, or maybe I can just go on my SoundCloud then. Where is it? Oh. So this is another example of my own tuning, very also not that extravagant, far less like weird and scary looking than this. I mean, I guess this is scary looking. I had people tell me that it was. Maybe not to everybody. And the final version, it's like the tuning is there, but I put fruity chorus over the whole thing, so like, you know, but you can still hear the tuning. So I'm gonna play it. Come on. Screenshot as well. 混ざり合う時の中で最後に恋されたなのきっとあうりざま感じることでさまよいわめくののすごいよえたこで残すかまごだから時の流れにはさか Yeah, so that's what that sounds like. Pretty minimal tuning throughout that whole cover. I don't know if I saved the UST again, so couldn't check. Also, sorry if I'm fidgeting. And you could hear it. Okay, yeah, how do you get a good sound from a pitch bend? So, the best way that I just could describe it in this, in the resource that I made was just know what you want it to sound like. And to like further explain on that, let's say you wanted to tune a song for like you tune your next cover and you don't know how to go about it. So chances are you've probably listened to that particular song a bunch of times and you've heard a bunch of different covers by a bunch of different producers or like just users. And so you have a basic idea of what their own tuning sounds like, or what the original tuning sounds like, if that makes sense, from the original like Vocaloid post or whatever. And so you have a good idea of what the Vocaloid tuning may sound like, and you wanna try and replicate that in your UST. What I like to do is I listen to UTAU versions of that cover and really get a feel for the song, and then I also like to sing it to myself to see like how I would sing it if I had a good singing voice, and that helps me to like when I'm placing my pitch bends. And I'll go over the basic types of pitch bends, because without knowing kind of like basic types of pitch bends, that would be rather difficult to do. And then let's do modulation, and then I'm gonna come back to this right here. I'm pointing to my computer screen, you can't even see me. So tuning with modulation, what modulation does is it puts back some of the original voice back in it before it goes through the synthesizer. So it's kind of hard to explain, but it does add a really nice effect to covers. So everybody's really intimidated by modulation, because if you use it too high, then your UTAU can sound drunk. And I'm going to do it just at 100 because, I mean, nobody uses it at 100 except for Kimchi Tan. But, and I love her, so it's okay. But, just going to do this. Going to do 100 modulation, and then we're going to play the... See how well Alice stayed on pitch. And I'm not sure if I said it before, but like if you use too high of a modulation, the people have problems with the UTAU sounding drunk. See how some of the notes kind of sounded off tune and stuff like that? She doesn't sound that bad with 100. Let's try 200. 200. Yes, this is what people are worried about when they use modulation. But the thing is, modulation isn't that hard to use. The voice bank doesn't just, like, as I said in the resource, the voice bank doesn't just kick you in the butt and say, yo, get out of my way, because I'm in charge now. As soon as you put on modulation, that's not how it works. So depending on the type of voice you use, some of them can handle higher modulation, some of them can't. It depends on how well that person stayed on pitch when recording. So when just for the sake of things, for this tutorial, I usually like to start out on 30 to 35 modulation when I'm doing UST. And so you're going to do Control All on an untuned UST and set your modulation to whatever you want. And then after that, you're going to start tuning it. And let's see. I'm going to do it back to 200 because she doesn't really sound that bad, just for the sake of things. So ignore this. But let's say that I have this whole UST set to 35 modulation. And I'm making these pitch bends by Elon. Let's say Elon's tuning, and he tunes this part here. This just sounds so bad, and no matter how he moves this pitch bend, it just can't sound good. So what you do is you right click on the note, you go to property, and then you just lower the modulation. And so let's say this was at 35 and I lower it to 25. See, now it sounds better. That is exactly how you use modulation. It's not that hard to tame. It's not that hard to deal with. Some people are like, oh, it adds like a harshness to the voice. Like you can get rid of, like you can fix all of the little quote unquote quirks with modulation with mixing. Like that, it's fine. Or most of. I'm not, I personally haven't had any problems with it. Okay. So now that I've covered most of the stuff that was in this resource, I think that was all that I went over, which is pretty brief. Okay, yeah. So now that I've done that, I'm going to just kind of go over some basic pitch bends and what they sound like. So a really, really basic pitch bend. This guy. And oops, didn't mean to open Discord. Haha, just kidding. And as you can see, Alun has used it in his own UST to dip from O to Zoo. And we're going to zoom in. adds pretty basic pitch bend, still sounds pretty pretty nice, like obviously depending on the song, adds a nice effect.
いいよずーっといいよず
Ozu.
おず
And it's just so brief, but it like it's just a nicer transition into the note, if that makes sense. So let's get rid of it.
いいよずーっといいよずーっと
It's so you can hardly detect it, but it just makes for, like I said, a smoother transition into the note. This one in particular, this is also pretty basic pitch bend. Forgive me for not knowing how to talk, but I usually see it done like this, or like come on, like this, and
いいよずーっと
what he's done is he's spread it out more.
いいよずーっと
See, and what I would probably do is I would do this a little bit.
いいよずーっと
Here I am editing his tuning. Just very slight movements. I mean, it also depends on the voice that you're working with. Not everybody's tuning is universal. But this is a really basic one. It just kind of leads up to the voice.
ずーっ
And especially with the placement of these control points, if he placed them like down here.
いいよずーっと
See? It's a different sound. And what you could also do is I see this a lot, and I also do this a lot. We're gonna...
いいよずーっと
See, it's like a nice just leading up to that. It goes ooh, and it's great. This is pretty basic.
とと
Toe. That's it. It just goes toe, and it's fantastic. For this song, I guess in particular, it's just I don't personally do this a lot, but it does sound rather nice.
通り
It lets the voice kind of just do a kind of skip up and then go back down. I also really like doing this. Just kind of like a little mountain before you go back to this pitch bend.
てととて
See, it is a different voice different sound, because the voice goes up and then back down and then back up again. Whereas this is just going like straight shot, down, up again.
うめ
And doing this prevents your UST from sounding like bland and flat, because like if you don't tune your USTs, guys, you're not
見
using
つめて
the bank to its full potential, and your covers are going to be boring to my ears. This is another basic one. It's pretty much just this, but
し
smaller.
し
Oh yeah, and with this you can push this control point down here and then leave one up higher, or push this one up here and leave that one down lower. It doesn't really matter. It's a slightly different sound.
なな
Sorta. Let's see, does he have anything different in here? If not, I can go to my own UST. Oh yes, doing this. This is my favorite thing to do. Those are CP.
海に来てるの
It just adds like a nice...
来て
It goes up and like goes back down, but it just sounds nicer. So really what this is this pitch bend, not this one, it doesn't have the little tail. It's this pitch bend, but you do it up on top of the note, and then you do it coming back down as well. So it's this upside down and then right side up again, if that makes sense. See, it's the same thing. It's this upside down. Spreading these apart also affects the sound. So like the space. See, it didn't. I shortened the sound. Okay, and then this is just a basic pitch bend. It goes. Always good to have. Always a good one to have. So I'm gonna go to my other UST since I just have a little bit more different pitch bends to go over. Excuse me. Zoom in. Okay, so I've kind of used some of the same ones as L1 as well, just because they're just the basic ones as I've been talking about. This one here, I love doing this pitch bend because it's just a really easy way for you to get an ah sound because it goes ah. There's also different ways to achieve the sound, but this is personally my favorite. It looks a little funky, but hey, we've already established that it doesn't matter what your tuning looks like as long as it sounds nice. This is another good one. Hitori. See, I mean, I'm sorry for the rolling R, but this one, it goes, oh. The length of this also really matters. Remember, don't keep it like this straight with each other because then it sounds auto-tuney and weird and not good. Hitori. See how like different that sounds? Hitori. Yeah. So I pretty much just prolonged the sound. Come on. Which can be a good thing. It can also be a bad thing because it's a good when you make notes longer, like when you push these guys further apart from each other, and make the transition from the pitch bend like an ah kind of thing, like slow build up. It's a good way to get your UST off tune. Hitori. I think I'm gonna leave it that way. And then this pitch bend I also like. And if I can leave it this distance. Or I can do this. Which I did, oopsies, which I did a lot of in my Senbone Zakura cover. Just move this a little bit. It goes down and then it comes like back up, like just straight. I'm gonna leave it the way it was because I liked it that way. And then this is pretty basic. Just jerk this over there. Like it seriously doesn't take much for you to change the voice. Now let's get rid of that. Oh no. Oh no. You hear the difference? Oh no. Oh no. There, yeah. So it's there. This is a good one. It kind of similar to what Alen was doing in his at UST is the voice comes back down and then it comes up very briefly and then goes back down again. It's really subtle difference, but just transitions nice. Like you can kind of hear the voice shoot up just a little bit. It's a very, very slight difference. This is I've already touched on this one, I believe. And I think I also touched on this one. Ni.
何すて
See, these are pretty similar sounding. Like, they just look different, but they sound very similar.
何すて
We're gonna make these the same sample. Just so that we can compare. Come on. Go. That's it. Thank you.
何何
And put them up at the same height. Oh, dicks. There we go.
何何何何何
See? Pretty similar. Okay. I think that's pretty much all the ones I use. Oh, obviously this one. The farther apart... Oh, okay. So let's put this down here.
Oshizora no shita.
Yeah, it doesn't sound that bad. But my personal style, since I have really exaggerated tuning, I bring it down farther.
Oshizora no shita.
It also depends on the placement. So how soon or how late. With any pitch bend.
Oshizora no shita.
See, that kind of sounds like, oh, what? If I do this and move this over here. That way we make it really late. Excuse me.
Oshizora no shita.
See, it's like, why? What's happening? But I think, well, you can do this. I think I've already touched on that. So this is what I was talking about earlier. When the voice pushing the control points closer to each other like this makes the pitch bend happen faster. Pulling them farther apart makes it happen slower. And it's really, really obvious in the UST.
Kiri.
See how the voice just sound really like so to get us, if I push it up here,
Kiri.
see, you don't get the you don't get the sharpness. Ugh, why don't I just let my voice crack some more? You don't get the sharpness.
Kiri.
You know? Probably not, but this is what it originally is.
Kiri.
But if I pull it closer and excuse if I do this, it's a different sound.
Kiri.
Yep. And that's all of the UST conversion that I've done thus far, but I think that's pretty much all of the pitch bends, really, that, like, just the basic ones. You can always do stuff on top and then, like, make it go, like, just experiment. Like, since you know the basic ones, how to get a good sound from a pitch bend. So now that you know these basic ones, what I said earlier about knowing what you want it to sound like should be easier. And then you can always like after this, like after you've done like since you now know the basics, like experimenting is always a good thing. So please experiment with your tuning and try and achieve different and unique sounds in all of your covers. I cannot stress enough, please tune your covers, because if you don't, the voices just sound so boring and so like flat. And I'll open up the Senbon Sakura cover, because when you hear like a power bank and you're like, wow, that bank is really powerful, and then you use it yourself and you use it on an untuned UST and it doesn't sound powerful, you're like, wow, this voice actually really isn't that powerful. No, you're not using it correctly. It's the problem. So we're just gonna do, see, this is the UST that I brought up earlier. I don't know if I'm pretty sure I fixed most of the errors in it, but we're gonna listen to it tuned and then we're gonna listen to it untuned. Come on.
大胆不敵に灰から革命来来楽々反戦国家日の丸印の二輪車転がし悪霊第三 ICBM
Okay. Pretty nice if I do say so myself. Now, oopsies, wrong button. We're gonna listen to it untuned. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
大胆不敵に灰から革命来来楽々反戦国家日の丸印の二輪車転がし悪霊第三 ICBM
It's like it's okay. I mean, if even like since it's being used in her range, it sounds like kind of okay, but it's just like it's lacking, you know? Play it one more time and then play the tuned version.
大胆不敵に灰から革命来来楽々反戦国家日の丸印の二輪車転がし悪霊第三 ICBM 大胆不敵に灰から革命来来楽々反戦国家日の丸印の二輪車転がし悪霊第三 ICBM
But yeah, it's like it's more exciting. I don't know. But yes, that's why. Sorry, that's just all that rendering. Sorry. But this is why you absolutely, please tune your covers, because you are not using the voice bank to its full potential if you do not tune. So either tune the UST yourself or use a tuned UST. That didn't make sense. Use either tune the UST yourself or use one that has already been tuned. Like some people what's been going now is they do it like this. What Ilan's done is they give you a tuned version and they give you an untuned version for you just like tune by yourself. So yeah, I really hope that this could fill in more gaps, fill in the gaps that are in this particular resource. I'm gonna update this as soon as I edit this video, and yeah, if any of these help, the resource plus this video, then let me know and link me to the cover, because I'll totally want to listen to it. So yeah,